Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome back after a very long week. Yours truly, Fusion Phil, made a round trip down to San Diego and back to conduct some training as well as some other things, and nonetheless get back to nothing but problems at the house. From frozen water lines to a frozen sewer line, it has been nothing but an adventure since about 9 p.m. last night. But the good news is we're all back up and running. Everything is going good. Great to see all you guys out there. I'm going to give this a few more minutes. I know we did kick this off early, but if you're new here, I'm Fusion Phil over here at JetCAD Cam, owner and operator of this crazy pirate ship that we like to refer to. That said, we are here for another Free Support Friday. We're here for you guys. If you guys have questions at any time, feel free to throw them in chat. Now, if you're watching this at a later date and time and you have questions outside of that, you could throw them in the comment area, or the best case, go ahead and use the support link down below to go ahead and submit a ticket. So I'm going to open this up to you guys out there. You guys let me know. What should we do this week? What is it that you guys want to see? I have a couple of things that I can go ahead and pull up. Now, I am seeing here it's taking a minute for all of my stats to come through. Can you guys hear me out there all right? Yes, no, maybe so? Again, always fun to come back and deal with more problems. Pretty common on my end. Let me just go ahead and see. Again, yep, we're live on here. All right, Bogdan, I see Bogdan out there. There we go. Looks like things are going good. New multi-axis roughing. Yes, so multi-axis roughing is something that just dropped in the latest update. With that said, we're going to go ahead and, well, did it drop in the Rotary multi-axis? Yes, multi-axis clearing. There it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to save that for our Workflow Wednesday video next week to dive deep into multi-axis roughing. And then I'm going to bring back the good old turbine wheel that we've done in the past that it seems like you guys get a massive kick out of because there is thousands upon thousands of views on that video. So with no further ado, let's kick this off right. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the energy drink of the week. This week we got the Celsius going for us. Now, if you guys don't know, we have a Buy Me a Beer program. As you guys can imagine, if you guys like what you see, likes, subscribes, we love them. Buy beers, steaks, lobsters, maybe buy your Fusion from me. Meal out there with the new update has some nice features. Sure, let's go ahead and share my screen, guys. As you guys can see my screen, let's take a look at the what's new. Did they publish the what's new yet? Let's take a peek here. Give me a sec. This is going to pull up on my other page. It does look like this was just published. You guys want to run through this a little bit today? Now, I do have to warn you, as Bogdan knows, we're cutting it short this week again in an hour. I got to go over to the Too Tall Toby channel and make fun of SolidWorks users. You guys know I love to do. I got a surprise over there that I think you guys will get a kick out of. But let's see what's new in the old January update. So with that, we only care about manufacturing, it seems like, on my YouTube channel, which is great. Of course, multi-axis clearing strategy. This is going to be a great tool. I've been using it a bunch already. Several customers of mine use it, and they love it. Now, new options for geodesic. This is going to be very nice when using the blend. Going down a little bit further, new options for deburr. Cool. Drilling. Improvements to import CAD data for linking. Man, there's quite a bit here. Automatic definition mode for turning threads. Again, big deal here so that you can pick up your threads automatically and define them. And that looks to be about it. So let's go ahead and click back over to Fusion here. As you guys can see, I am going to start by kicking things off this week with the Facebook post of the week. Now, I didn't get a screenshot of it. Again, guys, I've been driving a bunch. That said, it was actually a lathe part, which leads me to go back to my Fusion Bootcamp files. And of course, give you guys the good old-fashioned plug that we do have another Fusion Bootcamp coming up in Tampa, Florida. And if I remember how to do this, you guys can see you can get signed up for our in-person bootcamp. Now, we will not be streaming this in any way. It's a 3-day event. But let's go back to our screen share. That is not my screen share. That is my screen share. And well, the issue was, And I gotta say, guys, this is something that I have learned, and this happened with a few other customers over the last week. I get it. AI is the future. It's a great tool at the end of the day. I think it's going to do great things, but in its current state, outside of just programming a part, it is not going to help you in a lot of scenarios. And we'll walk through a couple of these, but as you're going to see, we're going to do our typical turning tool paths. And for those of you that are just jumping in, guys, feel free at any time, throw some questions in chat if you have questions about anything or want to see anything in particular. And I, of course, am going to cheat here with my 2-axis lathe toolpath. Now, the dilemma was, in this particular use case, was the customer was having a lot of problems with utilizing a Haas. I'm going to pause there because some of you guys are going to laugh. Yeah, it sounds normal, right? It was a Haas TL series machine. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our turning post from Haas pulled up. And there should be a generic turning post in here, which is what we tend to recommend. You guys scrolled down too far. Or did they take it away? Did they take it away on us? ST. There used to be a standard Haas turning path, tool path, or post processor, I should say. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this the right way. Let's go Haas automation, turning, and let's verify that there isn't still just a generic turning tool path. There is. I am just losing my mind today. And we're going to go ahead and copy that over to our cloud. Let's go here. So a couple of things. First and foremost, I'm not making any changes here. I saw probably 40 plus comments on this guy's post. And to say the least, I think only one of them when I was skimming through was correct. His problems resided in the tool itself. Now on a Haas TL series, you could have a tool changer or you could have a tool post, one of which is going to require you to do certain things here. But as you guys can see, I'm going to show this off real quick. The easiest way to look at this is we are working with X positive, as you're seeing, and we're working closer to center line, which is 0, which means X starts large and goes to 0 in a positive, right? So a positive large value back to 0. So we're basically moving X negative. Now, the dilemma was, in this particular use case, was based on his machine. His tool post was on the front. So he actually needs to feed into his part from X negative to X positive. And well, how you control this is all based off your turret. Now this gets a little tricky because there's some options here a lot of people are hidden and don't see. So let's go back real quick. Is you can find them quite easily by post-processing. And if you hit the little edit button, up here at the top, you're going to see in the description, there is recommendations for turret numbers. Again, this is very, very important because you have everything from 101 and 102, which controls X negative, X positive on your tool post, to 103, 104, which is for gang style holders. And again, we have a gang style video on this. Guys, go watch that video. It's a great video at the end of the day. But again, the idea is 101 to 104 is going to control whether or not we're using a gang style holder or we're using a turret slash, a quick change post, things of those natures. Now you can use both of these simultaneously, again, or not simultaneously, but you can use them both in conjunction in the same setup. Now you can't do it necessarily on the same tool. So let's go back here real quick. I'm going to edit our tool. And we're going to start simply by plugging in turret number 101. And with that, we're going to repost because as you guys know, if you've been here before, if there's anything I'm good at, I'm really good at doing the opposite of what I want to do the first time. We're going to post this one more time. Let's take a look at it. And now magically, I got this right the first time. We are now on the X negative side when it comes down to feeding to 0. So again, just by going to 101 on the turret, and this was the solution to the problem. A lot of people were saying a lot of outlandish stuff. They were saying you should get your post edits made. You need to submit this to ChatGPT. And it had nothing to do with that at the end of the day. All he had to do was change his turret number. So again, we're going to go back and we're going to do a few more things because there was one more request from that customer as a whole is we're going to go ahead and swap out So I'm going to take out tool 1, and we are going to do this with a different tool. So let's say we're going to go in with a VNMT right-handed tool. And again, I'm going to set that tool to turret 101. So again, this is very important that you're utilizing a turret number if your tools are coming from the front side of your machine. Now, if you guys are wondering, in the world of Fusion, yes, my X would be pointed away from me. And I'm just doing this as a visual representation that you're feeding in from the front. The TL series is one of the more common ones we see this on. It's a tool room lathe. It's meant to be a CNC, but still hand operated like a traditional lathe, right? So again, we could go ahead and post these two out. And I'm going to actually make one more change here after the fact, but I just want to show you guys, again, we're X negative. And what I'm really looking for is you're going to get down here, and this is going to be the key element, but we're going to do a couple of things here to this still, because this would be under the impression that we're utilizing a tool changer, right? But this would send my tool post all the way back to the home position. So let's go ahead and start with manual tool changes. So again, we'll edit our tool one more time. We're going to go post process. We're going to check the box for manual tool change. Again, we're going to edit our secondary tool. Now, we would have to do this on all of our tools if we're using a tool post. Again, getting back to the idea, guys, if you're using a gang style holder, it's not a manual tool change. We would use a different turret number, but you could use the tool post plus gang style and force manual tool changes as needed. One really important tip here, guys, if you have a really large tool in your CNC machine, you could check this box, whether it be a mill or a lathe, and it will stop the machine so you could hand feed it and hand take it out. So again, let's go ahead and post process. I do see a question out there from Sal. Sal, I'll get to you here in a second, but let's go ahead and post, and let's take a look at this. As you guys are going to see, it's calling a manual tool change, M0 right there, telling you to put tool 1 in. Scrolling down a little bit further, again, a manual tool change to put tool 2 in. We still haven't fixed our G53 issue, so let's go back and do that now. So one more time, when we go in and post process, there's a couple of settings. Again, this is all TL stuff. I think I'm going to chop this video down and we're going to publish this video because we get so many questions about this. But the first and foremost is the both X and Z in the same line. This means we're going to dog leg to our part each and every time. Now, I would tell you, you may want to do Z first, then X, or if you want us to make a change, we could do X first, then Z. But the idea is you can now control and split up that G53 line from being two separate lines to one individual line, things of that nature. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our face retracts. This is the biggest problem I see, is we no longer want to go all the way to Z home, right? So again, we could set either one, both, or all the same. But what I'm really looking for is a negative integer. And the reason why this is negative, if you think on your machine, G53 Z0 is all the way past down where your tailstock is. So we need to move negative towards the headstock to get it in position. So again, we're going to go ahead and post this one more time. You guys are going to see, we're going to scroll down here real quick before we jump onto that next lesson. As you're seeing, we're going to move X to 0 and then Z to -15 from G53. So again, if we were to stay positive, and again, you're going to get an error that says out of range or over travel. You can't take Z G53 past your tailstock in a positive direction. You can only come back negative. And again, we then do our manual tool change, and then we send it right back in there to do what we need to do. I'm going to pause there for a minute so I remember to crop this video. We'll go ahead and jump over. Again, guys, we have the Haas bootcamp coming up. We also have a buy me a beer, buy me a steak. Maybe hit the like button on this video as you guys are out there chilling. But let's get back. Again, I'm just doing this as a timestamp real quick so that we can crop this out for another video later. So getting over to Sal's question, is a simple tool path to machine a fillet on a part. For example, you have a 250 radius along an edge and you've been using parallel. I'm hoping to tips to streamline the tool path. Well, 100%. Let's go ahead and make a generic part. Sal, do you have the specific part? Do you want to send it in? We could take a look at it. If not, we're going to go ahead and deal with the brand new the brand new settings of Fusion here. We now need to say, are we doing assembly, hybrid? For you guys that don't know, most of you, the traditional workflow before was a hybrid design. I want to make that aware for you. Again, this allows you to link things in, externally link things out. In this case, we're just going to do a part design. And let's go ahead and create nothing more than a box because it will be very simple. And let's go 2 by 3, and let's go 1 inch thick, right? So as you're seeing, we're going to apply a fillet around the top at 250. And just like that, let's go do some machining toolpaths. So in Sal's case, we got a setup here. We're doing milling. And with that, we're not going to worry too much about roughing this part out. All we care about is the 3D. Guys, we might get a couple of errors based on stock. Don't sweat it. So first and foremost, the question is why not use parallel toolpath? Well, what you're going to see happen with parallel toolpath, and we're going to get a tool up here. One of my favorite tools, of course, ball end mill. Let's just get a 1/2 inch ball. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and define my geometry. Now I am going to cheat, and this is a really good way to cheat if you guys didn't know. We'll say selection, and we're not going to do chain. We're going to do a face contour, and I'm going to pick 2 faces to work on. So by default, we're going to get us a toolpath, and you're going to notice it's going to stop short. The other thing is this is all based on my geometry. Guys, go check out our we did courses this time around. We explain everything about the geometry tab in one whole video. But what's happening is we're going to turn on contact point boundary. This is going to waterfall us down around the outside. And now the real issue would come into play is if I wanted to do parallel in a different direction. And the reason why I'm showing you this, guys, is because if I take and duplicated my toolpath, I use Control D to duplicate, and I pick new face contours, top and bottom, you're going to notice this is going to run along my x-axis. Now we could remedy this and we could fix it by taking our passes tab and pass direction 90. And as you can see, I'm now running along or with my part. Again, very common, different settings for different situations. But the problem is now if I was to duplicate that one more time, is what would happen if I wanted to go all the way around my part, right? For this, we're going to use a traditional selection of an upper and lower rail to keep everything in check. But you're going to notice is on my ends, I'm running along the part, but then on the other side, I'm running up and down the part. This is why the blend strategy is probably not going to work the best in the long run. The true strategy you should be using is either going to be geodesic because it has blend capabilities, or what is referred to as the blend toolpath. Now, again, as we always recommend to anybody and everybody, when in doubt, you hit the OK button, and as you're going to see, the toolpath itself is telling you that you don't have any surfaces to utilize. Well, in this case, with the ability to go in, I'm going to go ahead and pick my drive surface now. Again, if I hit OK, again, now we need drive curves. So in this case, I'm going to pick the upper and lower edges. For those of you at home, I'm holding the Alt key to pick my upper and lower. And with that, you're going to notice we now get a toolpath that is going to follow said curves, right? So again, the nice thing about this is we're using a surface to drive it and curves to control which way it goes. Well, the value here is when we start to extend our surfaces around our part, for example, all 4 sides now, and I'm going to redo my drive curves because I'm going to allow it to pick the full chain all the way around. And just like that, you're going to notice that the blend strategy now goes and continuously stays in a fixed Z. As well, it's moving now in XY and not up milling and down milling as the blend strategy was happening. So, Sal, you let me know, man. What do you think about that? Is that going to work a little better for you? The only reason why I would recommend geodesic over it is because if I go geodesic in my geometry tab, I could say blend. As you guys notice, there's still surfaces to drive blend from. I'm going to pick those 4 surfaces. And as you're going to see, we're going to get automatic curves for our geometry of that toolpath. So again, As you're seeing now, I need to adjust my step over, but I didn't have to pick drive curves. Again, Geodesic had automatic drive curves based on my boundaries of my surfaces. So getting back to Scott. Scott out there. Oh man, I need to master's help with our 4th axis. Sal, send me a ticket, man. Let's take a look at what you got going on. Deep Thinker out there. Guys, Deep Thinker, big shout out, man. He's one of our membership subscribers. We did offer memberships. I'm not forcing memberships on you guys. We did it as a joke again, just like the beers, steaks, and lobsters. There's a beer, steak, and lobster tier membership. Again, all that money goes into my bank. I drink those beers. And I think for the membership people, I might have to start sending you guys photos of me chugging beers around my property. But Cycle 800 or not doesn't seem to work with our Siemens 828. Scott, do you have machine simulation and machine definition as well on your machine? Did you calibrate that? But I'm going to get back up to JRD. Thanks for the great videos. You teach precision machining at South Adams in Bernie, Indiana. We are on an e-learning day today, so I've assigned your geodesic video and a quiz to my students. Hey, JRD, do me a favor. Send me an email. I am going to be in your area here in about 2 weeks on my trip down to Florida. If you can set it up, man, I'm happy to stop in and talk with your class. We do it all the time, man. Go ahead and send me an email with the email down below and we'll get set up. Machine sims perfectly. Okay, Scott, we're getting a little closer. Scott, I need some more information outside of that, though. So it machine sims correctly, but at the machine, I'm going to assume, is it backwards? I'll give you a few moments there. And we're going to go ahead and check. I got some emails coming in. Let me just make sure nobody submitted any tickets on me when I wasn't paying attention. I don't see any tickets in at the moment. Hold on. Give me 1 sec here. And we're going to clear a few things out. Alrighty. And we're back. Going once, going twice. You guys got more questions, more things that you want to see? Again, we're seeing more and more people jump in here. Guys, if you have any comments, any questions at any time, feel free to reach out, man. We are here, like I said, even in JRD out there. JRD, man, I would love to stop in and talk to your students. It's always a great time to meet the next generation of machinists. But hard to describe. It says invalid rotary access vectors. I know exactly what your problem is, Scott. It's the same problem that you have when you deal with FANUC machines, and it's all based in your post-processor. So, you said you have the Siemens 828, correct? So let's go ahead and jump back in here. I am going to show you guys the secrets. This is why you come to my channel. You don't need ChatGPT. You got Chat Phil over here, right? So, what we're going to do is when I post-process, and this is going to be a little tricky for you guys to understand, and I'm going to go revisit this here at a later date. One, this is why people pick up our support packages. You guys can reach out to us. We can do this for you. But we're going to go ahead and get our Siemens 828 post pulled up. Again, we're going to copy this over and put it in the folder of stuff that we do not want to use at a later date. And we're going to edit this. So what you're having a problem with all relies around your Euler. I can spell Euler, right? Conversions. Plain and simple. So the problem is based on a normal 5-axis machine. It allows you to tilt planes in A, B, and C kind of patterns, but you need to make a difference and adjust the fact that it's, you know, based on, is it a Euler conversion? Is it a standard conversion? Is it a machine conversion? There's a lot of different things that are revolving around this that all play into the problem that you're having, Scott. And I know this because what's happening in a demonstration kind of mindset is in his machine, he only has an A axis. On a 5-axis, you usually have A and C. So if it goes A90, C0, when it goes back the other way, it's going to go instead a -90, C180 to achieve the same thing. If I had to make a guess out there, Scott, either you're getting the error like you said, or the machine is going to the wrong side. But this is something we're not going to spend a ton of time on today, just because we want to keep things open to everybody. But it is definitely your Euler conversion problems that you're having. Again, we need to force it to do a tilted work plane based on an A axis or a single axis only. But a quick reminder out there for you guys, we get the question all the time. If you want to move your home in your machine sim to go to certain positions on indexing, on tool change, or your program end, again, you can come up here to the top. There is a beautiful example over here on what you need to put and copy and paste, but you can change that false into axis X, axis Y, so forth and so on. Yeah, again, Scott, you can use the link down below to submit a ticket, and I will have Bob take a look at it. So getting back into Fusion, guys, what other questions do you guys have outside of that? I, of course, have a few other things that I could show you. I don't need to. I'd rather open it up to the floor for you guys to ask those questions. I know the biggest problem that I think, again, is the TL video. I'm going to release that as its own video just to like clear the air on the Haas tool rooms on what you need to do. But outside of that is the continuous rest machining, which we have a ton of stuff coming up for with our Workflow Wednesday video on how to use that, how to implement it, and make it right. So we're 20 minutes in, guys. Nothing? No questions? No tickets? I do actually, you know what, that reminds me. I do have one thing that we do need to take a look at. And it was a weird simulation issue, and we're going to see if I can duplicate it here on my end. So give me a quick second, because I need to give this part. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. You know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do a move command. And we're going to get this away from the origin. And then we are going to do a pattern. Circular. This guy around center. Now, the issue somebody was having is when utilizing a toolpath pattern, they were getting an issue. Let's go ahead and regenerate my toolpaths here. And the issue is that when simulating Elijah, yeah, Elijah's the reason why we're going to make a video based on continuous rest machining, both from a setup and a toolpath level. Not picking on Elijah out there. It was nothing but an adventure, as he knows and I know, for 2 days of phone calls. But as you guys are seeing, we're going to go ahead and take any one of our toolpaths. I am now going to go up here and we are going to do a new pattern. And again, this is going to be a circular pattern. And with that, we need to pick our rotary axis. So let's go ahead and get our origin pulled back up and do our 12 instances. Now I'm partially regretting my choices of picking a toolpath with a lot of things going on. Let's go ahead and drag in the simpler toolpath. But they were saying is when you simulate, and this is going to look funny because this is a simulation question. We don't get these a ton, but let's get our stock turned on. And they were utilizing tool. And with tool, am I crazy? We should be getting another option here. Oh, it's because, are we in fast mode? Is that why? It is. Okay, so now we have plastic vinyl. So if we simulate this, there was an issue they were saying when seeing the actual comparison between the two toolpaths. It was kind of goofy looking, and I can't show you a photo. I wish I could show you guys a photo. We're going to see if my computer explodes today. And let's do all toolpath. We do have stock turned on, which is weird because I'm not getting stock updating either. So let's dive a little deeper here. Let's go back in our toolpath and see what we have going on. So this is why we usually don't recommend changing too many settings in this workspace. But I think my computer is going to have a hard time here in a minute because everything is cranked. So again, let's go ahead and hit play. Maybe we'll rewind here real quick. You know what? Let's do behind. And right now we're not getting stock. This is pretty normal for me to have nothing but problems, as you guys know. Transparent. He's still calculating. Let's give it a minute to calculate and we'll take a look. Scott out there, is there a way of setting machining limits boundaries in the file? There is. I'll show you some neat tricks here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and try something here real quick. Let's go back to material, see if we can't get a different result to happen on this file. If not, for some reason, I'm not getting stock generation. So let's take a look here. Why is my stock not showing up? Go ahead and exit this. Let's take a look at our stock visibility is turned on. And we get it on the first one, which is pretty common. And this could be the problem that we're seeing is when machining right now, we may need to actually tell Fusion that I need all of these parts. EJ out there in chat, you still there, buddy? What are you not supposed to do when selecting your model? Again, rest machining secrets number 1. Don't use bodies like I'm doing right now. I'm doing this for demonstration and demonstration purposes only. So again, let's go ahead and fix this. Yeah, see, he knows. He learned. Over travel alarms. Yeah, so we're going to do a couple of things with that here in a minute. I just want to see if I can get a direct representation of what the customer was seeing. This is taking a little bit longer than I would like. Oh, it's because we need to do all of our other tool paths. Let's get those out of the way. Same problem EJ was having. So let's go ahead and simulate this one more time and see if I can't get the same result. As you guys are seeing, we're going to go back to by tool, plastic vinyl. Let's see if we hit play. And it does not look like I'm getting the same issue they were having. And the issue they were having was miscoloring. So it was really weird. There was like, it was like the actual tool path contact being made was being colored the wrong kind of color. So again, we'll give this a minute here real quick. It'll get caught up and then we'll go back in. Total newcomer. Jern, what's going on, buddy? Great to have you. Jeff out there. Jeff, what's going on? I was on site with Jeff. Jeff, I meant to email you this morning. If you have information about the place you guys have in San Antonio, I would love to put it up on our channel for people to see. As you guys are seeing, we're recalculating stuff. I have my accuracy cranked to the max. That's why it's taking forever. With that, though, Jeff, if you guys didn't know, Jeff, great time meeting this guy. He has a Corvette. Big fan of a Corvette. But he's got a Sile machine in his garage, and he makes all kinds of one-off accessories for his land survey business. He just one day up and went for it and went for the machining side of things. So I don't see that I'm getting the error here. Let's go ahead and exit out of this. I don't want to bore you guys with this, but let's go back and let's look at the idea that I have a part too long for my machine. One, I'm going to start again by making said part. And with that, let's just say I have, like everybody is saying, we're going to do this the right way, guys. You know what? Let's go back. Again, this is the fun of the new Fusion updates. Technically, we should have a hybrid design because, well, that's how we work. New component. This is going to be our part. And with that, we're going to go ahead and create our box because, well, the part itself doesn't matter. What we're really chasing is the boundary. So I think I was hearing people out there, they were saying, let's say my part is about 25 inches long, but my machine travel is maybe 20. And with that is a pretty standard looking part. So if I was to machine this right now, create my setup, the problem is going to be, one, you got to set your work offset somewhere. Maybe we go off and we're going to do the right side of our part before doing the left side of our part. Not the biggest deal at the end of the day, but let's say I want to go in and do some type of tool path that is going to require me to only stay at one end of my part. Now, there's a lot of ways you could do this. I'm going to show you a couple. Step one would be is if I was to face right now this part off, let's go ahead and get one of my favorite tools, the big old 2-inch shell mill from the default library. And with that, you're going to notice my tool path goes the full length of my part. So from a 2D standpoint, the easiest way to cheat on all of the tool paths is, one, go catch our new series out there, back to the basics. But I need to define a different stock selection. This is it. This is the whole key to what you have going on. Now, there's a couple caveats to this, and I'm going to show you this. We're going to go back to our design side. Now, it is very important if you're doing stuff with boundaries and you're getting more advanced in Fusion, you're probably going to start to model your stock. It's going to make your life much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again do a brand new component, and that is going to be a stock. And all I'm doing here, like I said, guys, is I'm just trying to generate another box a little bit bigger than we had before. I'll have to type these in manually. Let's just say we're now at 26 inches long, 2.5 wide. And lastly, we're going to work with 1.1 high. So the luxury of components is because now I can do a joint and I can place my stock where my part is. We're going to have to flip this. But as you can see from the bottom side, I now have a rectangle on a rectangle. I know this seems a little messy at first, but you're going to see why this is going to get much better in a short period of time. So I am going to right click my stock. This is a pro tip out there for you guys, is we are going to go up and we are going to look for appearances. And I am going to change the stock to glass. And the reason why I like doing this is because one, glass, it's transparent. You can download whatever shade glass you want. But as you guys can see, I can grab that glass, I can throw it on there. And just like that, my stock is transparent so that I can see my part inside, regardless of what level I have activated. So from this point, let's fix our manufacturer side of things again. You guys, you're a more advanced user. You would have probably had your model and your stock already done. I like to take you back and forth to show you why each thing takes effect, right? So again, my stock is no longer relative. It's from solid. And we're going to go back down and we're going to find our stock in our tree. Again, hybrid design with the new updates. And make sure you're using what? What is it, Elijah? You're using what? Components. So as you guys are seeing, let's fix our setup again. Let's get rid of the body. Do this the right way. Pick our part this time around. And as you guys can see, I now have the giant yellow box out there. And if I regenerate my facing toolpath, I still got the dilemma of over travel, right? We're building up to this. Now, this is where the magic is going to happen. Because in the design side, if I want my toolpath to stay on a certain area of my part, I need to create a boundary to use. Now, if you're using primarily 2D toolpaths, you're going to want your boundary to probably respect the size of your stock. Where if you're using 3D toolpaths, you can be a little more loosey-goosey with it, if that makes sense. So we're going to do both. What I'm going to do is if I want my boundary to be in the stock component area, you could place it in the stock component area. Or if you're going to be a stippler because you're using good organization techniques, we might want to kick off another component for just my boundaries. I think a lot of people forget this at the end of the day, that I can only put sketches in components and I don't need bodies. This just makes organization to be super handy and useful. So again, we're going to create our sketch. Now I'm going to cheat here. We're going to go ahead and go off the top of my stock. You could also go off the bottom of your stock. The reason why I like that is because it's going to automatically project the boundaries of my stock. And with that, I could start my sketching tool. So first and foremost, we're going to do a rectangle here. And again, I have my stock turned off. But the idea is I'm using that projected edge of the stock to create my boundary for my other toolpaths. Now, if you're doing this with the 3D world, we can make that boundary about as big as we want. Again, guys, if we're looking down from the top, if I turn my stock back on, you'll notice that yellow box that you have there is I can't speak, is constrained to the top of my material. Now, if you know your travel limits, this is where we could, of course, add a dimension. Maybe we're only going to make it about 16 inches. As you can see, I could plug in 16 inches. If you wanted to start now, like going around and being fancy, 12 here, maybe this is going to be, 19. And then with that, we need a distance from here just because, let's say it's 5. We're really just starting to work towards fully constraining that sketch. It's not a big deal, right? The sketch that does matter is the one on our part, which is for our 2D scenarios only. And the sketch outside is for 3D toolpaths. Now, this is where I would personally, at some point, I'm going to have to slide this down my machine, right? I might make another sketch. Again, same surface. Maybe add my rectangles down here at the other end. Again, whatever your boundary is going to be, we're going to just go ahead and make a generic one. This just makes it easy for setup 1, setup 2. That's all I'm doing, guys. I'm thinking a little bit ahead of myself to make life easy. But when we go back to manufacture, what I'm going to do now is change the boundary used for my stock settings. So again, this is where if you notice, I'm highlighting that small rectangle. And just like that, I've now limited my facing toolpath to only go so far down this part, right? So again, just remember, we need room to go past that stock selection in the case of this toolpath. Now you could, again, guys, we could come in here, do like you guys saw me do with the parallel toolpath, rotate at 90. Then it doesn't necessarily go all the way. It's going to overlap a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Now, looking at that from a 3D standpoint, say we're going to do 3D adaptive clearing, swap out to my favorite tool, as Jeff found out. Yours truly loves a 1/2-inch flat end mill. Not that his machine couldn't push that big 3/4 inch monster, but what you're going to notice is, again, 3D adaptive clearing. My rust machining is actually automatically picked up on the stock down here on the end. But again, I picked my tool, I hit OK, I got a toolpath. We come back in here. I'm going to say a selected boundary, or I could actually use stock definition. So this is where there's a couple of tricks here that you may or may not know. We explain this quite well in other videos, but I need to say what I want to machine and where I want to machine from. So what I want to machine is going to be a selection. So we're going to stay within this window, and we are only going to machine whatever stock is left over. So this is where I could say tool inside the green boundary, but only machine where the physical material is coming from, right? So again, as you guys are going to see, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And as you guys are going to see, I've now used a selected boundary, even though it's massive on my part. We could go drag this as big as we want at the end of the day, but it's now respecting staying in that rectangle at one end. So now that I'm done with my first setup, whatever you guys are going to end up doing, let's say I'm going to take this and we're going to do a new setup. I'm going to go off this end of my part as my datum. Again, guys, you're going to use different spots on your part. The idea here is that we are going to go through and do this the proper way, which means what? We don't use the body because we want continuous rust machining to work. And again, that continuous rust machining, as you guys see here, I hit OK. I don't get an error. Had I used body, I would have got this error. But we can, again, let's go ahead and do a brand new toolpath, adaptive clearing. As you guys are going to see, we're going to hit the OK button out of the box. What's going to happen, though, is by default, it is only picking up things at one end. But the problem would be is if for some reason I forgot something down here. You guys notice how I have this little skin here? Let's say I actually wanted my toolpath to go further down. So let's say we're going to go stock bottom. And let me make sure I'm editing the right one. Yep, I am. Okay. So let's say we're going to go stock bottom here for some reason. And this guy is going to go 50 thou lower than my part. What you're going to notice the moment that I told it to go all the way down to the bottom, again, I run into that same issue where my tool wants to go all the way around my part. This is where we rinse and repeat the system. Geometry, selected boundary. Again, we go to where our boundaries are. This is why I did it as a component, if you guys were wondering. I could also narrow this down to say, oh, I only want this boundary or that boundary. But as you can see, the moment I add that boundary back in there, I've now, again, took my toolpath and said, only stay on one end of my part. So this, I know it was a lot, but this is how you would do an extra long part in your machine, is I'm doing nothing more than controlling some toolpaths with a couple of sketches to keep it at one end or the other. Again, I had to do 2 setups because I'm going to shift this part at some point, but like that, that's it. Let me know. Is it magical? Are you guys blown away by this? Favorite stream, Ace, I appreciate you out here, man. Guess what? If you didn't catch it earlier, Ace, yours truly is going to be out there hosting again at the good old-fashioned Too Tall Toby competitions. So, moving down, awesome. Jeff, yep, you're in California. Jeff, I thought you were in Las Vegas. Are you in California now? Oh, you're in California right now, aren't you? Awesome. We got, is that meh? I don't know. Meh. We're going with meh. Came across my channel, binge watching it from now on. Time to learn Fusion and Cam. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it a ton. Ah, he's on a vacation. Jeff is a lucky guy. That works. Great, Scott. Glad to help you guys out. Time to talk on some big jobs. Time to taking on some big jobs. Yep. So again, guys, I'm throwing this out there. If you guys like what you see, you get to come here on a Friday. As long as I am set up somewhere to be able to do this, we provide free support Friday to each and every one of you that use Fusion. Come here, ask your questions, get those answers that you need. Again, we like to play Stump the Chump if you guys want to challenge me or roast your setups. Really good at that. But outside of that, you guys can like, subscribe, follow, buy us a beer, steak, lobster, buy support packages. I mean, heck, the sky's the limit over here. You guys can even sign up for our monthly memberships thanks to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen one more time, but I'm going to open this up to you guys. Does anybody else have any questions before we kind of cut this off early this week and I jump over to the Too Tall Toby channel here? I'll give you a few more minutes if anybody's got questions. Did I miss any questions? I don't think I did. Scott, we're going to be looking out for a ticket from you. Let's go ahead and check the ticket system. I want to make sure none of you guys. Scott, I see your ticket in here. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and get that going. Outside of that, let's see here. Did not get anything on that one. I'm a little upset about why that miscoloring was happening. I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. Anybody else have any questions? Awesome. Jared, I got your email. Jared, I know you. I've talked to you a couple of times. But for sure, we're gonna get in there and we're gonna see if we can't help you guys out. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Yeah, Scott's got to get the employer to pay us. 100%. Just sent a ticket. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. Well, we got two Scotts in here. Look at that. We got world-renowned Fusion Phil himself, two Scotts in the chat. Jeff, one of our top-tier membership subscribers. Well, guys, I don't see any more questions. If you have questions, feel free to ask them, but I think it's that time. Oh. We got kind of a strange request to add a negative concave fillet to a part for milling purposes. A weird part, and it seems to be for external corners. One more, I gotta read this one more time. A strange feature request to add a negative concave fillet to a part, two parts for milling purposes. Weird part, it seems to be for external corners. Jern, can you send me maybe a drawing or a model of what you're trying to do? I mean, the way my brain takes it is it's just an inverted fillet, I guess. And I'm just thinking that like, it's just like the bottom of a pocket or something. You would corner radius tool or utilize something like blend or a 3D contour to achieve that. Well, guys, sure can. Hard to explain in words. No problem. Jern, send us an email, man. We'll get on a one-on-one video meeting and we'll see if we can't help you out or see what you're trying to do. But guys, it's time to jump out of here. I know I feel bad, guys. I do. I feel like I used to spend like 2 hours on here with you guys, but I've Too Tall Toby. He's out here bugging me all the time about coming to host the channel. Apparently you guys that watch his channel also love to see me there. But I'm going to cut things loose. As you guys know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You guys know Fusion Phil, Jit CAD Cam. We are traveling all across the US nowadays, moving down to Florida here in 2 weeks to do our boot camp as well as additional training. You guys are on the route at any time. Send us an email as we're going to make a stop in at the Adams High School, it sounds like, and do a little powwow with the students. But with that, we'd love to have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, I hope you guys have a stellar weekend, except those of you out there getting that overtime. Got to get that money. Obviously, work as many hours as you can. Once you go over 40, you just got to get to 60 and 80, man. But have a good one. If you have questions, send us an email at any time. We're happy to have you. And I will see you guys on the Too Tall Toby channel.